Well, Garrett, here we are into the tournament. You know, just reflecting on things to kind of help you all out there as far as what we did in the tournament. We had on Tuesday over 18 pounds and 7 fish, and then the first day of the tournament we had over 16 pounds and 7 fish. Just wanted to let you all know from Garrett and I just what we did, what made us successful at catching those big fish. And a couple of things were very, very important in finding the fish that on this particular lake. It was pre-spawn. Fish were moving up the ditches and the creek channels, moving into the spawning areas, which were mainly upriver on both sides of Grenada, Mississippi. And finding those, we had to fish the ditches, and they were on the edge of the ditches in 5 to 6 feet in most cases. Some of the shallower ditches, the drop was from 2 feet in the shore or along the areas where the males were sitting. Females were sitting in 4 feet of water, we found out, and that's what we experienced. We fished 2 feet deep over the channel edges, even if it was up to 17 feet deep. But again, the key was hitting those ledges. The kind of baits we used, Garrett, tell them what you used on your side, and I'll tell them what I did.
Okay. Of course, we do the double rig, and on the top we have our true turn hooks there that Dan will show you here in a second. But the colors that I was using, I had the Bobby Garland Bluegrass Swim R on one on the bottom, and then tipping it with a minnow. And then on the front, and I should be spanked here for this because this is a new one and I don't know the name of it yet, but you can see it. It's gold with the
it's a pearl,
pearl bottom, you know. And
it's a brand new color from Bobby Garland.
It wore them out. And so, you know, anywhere from 2 to 3 feet under the water was what we were catching them on. And then we had the P&S Mylar thing that comes from my partner here. The other thing that I'm really, really big on all the time, and this tournament was no exception, is a few things. Bobby Garland has the crappie rattles, and this water was at very least stained. In some places it was really, really muddy. So I made sure that I put those crappie rattles into the plastics. Really easy to do. It's a little more challenging in these Swim Rs because they have the slit in the bottom, and the slit is for the other thing that I'm religious in using, and that's the Bobby Garland Moglo Slab Jam. I'm constantly keep this on there. The great thing about this, it doesn't disperse in the water. When you keep it on, it's kind of jelly-like, so it will really last a long time. So I made sure the rattles were in there, made sure the Slab Jam was on, and then from one of our other sponsors, there's another product that I'm religious to using, and it's called the Stubby Steve. Not only is it scent, time release, the scent aspect of it, but we found that you get it down over that barb and it'll actually help hold the minnow on the hook too. So I'm religious about that. And so that's kind of how I rigged up over here on my side, and it was really great. So how about you over on your side?
To mix it up and give us a lot of coverage in different colors and different methods, what I did was went beyond that and used something more bold, like a pink head, glow head from Bobby Garland. As you can tell, we used a bigger model of it because we're fishing for bigger fish, all the way up to over 3 pounds. And we did catch a couple of 3-pounders in practice that day that we had over 18 pounds. And you can tell here we used a lot of contrast and did a ghastly minnow baby shad from Bobby Garland. You can see it right here. It's a kind of a combination of a pearl with chartreuse over the top, and it is a glow bait. That's really important. We ourselves found was glow plastics on this particular dark water that's on Grenada, Mississippi. Almost every color we used had glow with it, with the heads as well. Also, the Slab Jam from Bobby Garland is glow, so that helped our baits really become an outstanding item in that water color. The other thing is we were fishing only 2 feet deep, so by doing that, by using these heads, we also used a Roadrunner that was in a gold black, as you can see here,
this one right here,
and you can tell it has a gold blade with it there. That particular model also has a white throat on it, so the color selector was showing us that it was white, and black's always a good color no matter where you go. A white, and it has a touch of gold and red on there, which was really key to these fish. The other thing we did was we used the double hook rigs. We used 1/0 hooks, leaders from True Turn. It's TTI Blakemore, folks, but True Turn hooks. These are leaders you put on your 3-way, Thunder Mist 3-ways, on the top of those particular baits. We put minnows on these, And the last thing that we used, well, two things we used. One of them was the double hook rigs from Ronnie Capps. They have double hook rigs that we call putting meat in front of the fish. When we put meat in front of the fish, it's the live minnows. And when you get cold front conditions, a lot of times you have to go to the live minnows in order to get those fish to really, really hit that bait. On the second day of the cold weather, they weren't slamming the bait. They were just barely moving that rod tip, and you really had to watch. And if you had wave action, it became pretty difficult to get them when it was doing that. So these are some of the things that made us successful when we went out on the water down there. And our tools of the trade were Mitchell reels, put on 14-foot B&M Duck Commander rods with chartreuse tips that way on the rod so we could see those tips move. In combination, to watch that line, we had high-vis gamma line. It's a brand new crappie line, and it really glows when it gets on top of the water where you can see it. Under the water, it goes away. Fish don't care. So it was really great to have that combination for these big fish where we didn't lose them at all. The last thing we used to win big weights like these was a P&S jig in a color shown here. And then we went in and used that June bug color with chartreuse on it, and that caught a lot of fish for us.
We both kept one of those on.
So those were the tools of our success. We tried different sizes of minnows. We tried small and large. We tried different combinations of small and large, small on the jigs and big on the hooks above. We found out on certain days the small minnow on the bottom was better, right? And then put a stubby Steve's behind it so that it kept that minnow on there, and it made those fish have to bite it just that much harder to get it off there, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I'm religious on that. The other thing that I think was really helpful to us, because we were in an area that we had heard a lot about called Turkey Creek up there, because the water allowed us to be there. We had a little bit of an edge in finding where we wanted to fish over the competitors because of what was on our screen.
Oh, the Garmin, and everybody wanted to borrow our software that came up on us. They were the elite crappie pros, because on the other units, they did not have the map with contours, so they had to guess at it. They had to go by the depth finder, only in reading the depth. So we used Garmin to be able to give us those contour lines, and that made a huge difference for us in finding those fish. Well, I think that pretty much covers what we did out there.
So the stringer you saw, this is how it came about.
Oh yeah. Now you have the how-to that goes with those big, successful big fish that we had there. So go out and catch some fish tomorrow and use what we just talked about, and I think you're going to have some success, especially in Grenada Lake.
Hey, we thank you guys for liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter at Crappie Country. We really appreciate it. We've got some good and exciting things happening. So, Deb, what do you think?
Absolutely, man. We'll be singing on the water.
All right, baby.
All right, man.